Hey, hello YouTube. Stretch Line Bait and Tackle again for another kayak series here. And today we're going to cover the West Fork Trinity River between Eagle Mountain Lake up here at your top left corner and down towards the bottom of the screen, Lake Worth. So this is Lake Worth down here at the bottom and Eagle Mountain Lake at the top. And this area in the center here is the West Fork Trinity River, and it's the Fort Worth Nature Preserve. It costs, I believe it's $6 a person to enter, and there's a nice little kayak ramp and a rough ramp. I believe two rough ramps. Now, when you come in the road here, you'll come in and you'll see buffalo and deer. There's all kinds of game here, and they're pretty tame. The buffalo are behind a fence, but the deer will come right up to you, and all kinds of wildlife like that. A lot of people come out here and watch wildlife. They walk around, a lot of hiking and walking trails. But when you come in through the shoreline road here, after you come in through the gate, let me back up here. I guess I should take you to the gate. As soon as I can find the thing. Okay, yeah, because you'll come in here off the highway, off 199, and you'll see the exit here for the entrance for the nature preserve, and you'll come in through here, and you'll come into let's see if I can find it here on Google Earth. There's signs here. If you follow Google, you'll come straight to it. There's only one road in, and you're going to follow this road here, and it will bring you when you reach a T right here. If you'll stay to your left, it will bring you around this shoreline road here, and the first place you will come to is right here, and this is a rough kayak launch right here. It's basically just a muddy bank about 5 or 6 feet wide that's clear, where if you've got a kayak that's not too heavy, there's like 4 or 5 parking spaces here, and you can, if your kayak's not very heavy, you can launch it right here. Not a bad little spot. But the best spot is right here. This is your main kayak launch. This is a restroom right here. And the kayak launch, I don't know if it's going to clear up enough, but it's a big aluminum floating platform right here. Uh, this is probably 20 feet long, and it steps down. So you can, it's kind of a tight squeeze working around down the platform, this incline right here, but it's rails on each side. You can get your kayak around. I've loaded my Old Town PDLs through there, and we'll 12 footers, and so we'll bring it right down here, and we put them right here, and you can tie up, and it's nice because you can step down and then step right in your kayak. It makes it real easy access. So usually what I do when I come up to this lake or this river here, the West Fork Trinity, and I'm fishing at the nature preserve, is I will launch here and I will move north upriver. I like to head upriver, and there's a few little decent spots to fish here. You got a lot of timber lay down along the banks, and then this whole river is going to have laydowns along it. But the best spot is right here next to this rough launch. There's a little bit of an inlet here, and this is your main inlet over this pedestrian bridge. Now, when they're releasing water from Eagle Mountain Lake, this will be fairly swift depending on how much water they're releasing. And it's a it's a very, very good place to fish because the bass love to hang around in this area right here. I fished the grass and the weeds on this side. Your current comes in, and your water comes in this way, and then starts the main current is running this way and along this outside bank down this way. This is pretty calm right here, and I have fished right here and caught one or two. But the best spot I found is on the north side of the current. The current comes through here, and these bass like to hang around this point right here, and there's some reeds right through here and some rocks, and I have always caught fish right along here. You may catch some along this outside edge here depending on the time, or back up in here, and but this right here is probably one of the best spots I've had to catch bass up here in this lake. Now, this pedestrian bridge right here, there's a sign telling you it's a restricted area. You're not allowed past this way or this way. You're not allowed to go up into this area back here. And this whole area is restricted. And I believe it's because they have the buffalo and other wild game and stuff like that back there. And that's just an off limits area. But anyway, so when you come up here and you hit this current, we're releasing, and this is a good spot right here, and you have laydowns all along the banks here, all along. And you're averaging in the center 6 to 8 feet deep water with it goes up to 1.5 2 feet on the banks here, so it's not a bad little spot here. And like I say, there's timber. This shoreline on the west side here will be mostly grassy. It's a little bit of timber. Your east side has a lot of timber laydowns, and so I will work my way up here. I'll hit these laydowns in the grasses and stuff. And what I like to do is I like to work one bank on the way up. Like I'll come in and I'll work all this timber and all this timber. And here's a place where there's 3 or 4 big, large fallen trees, but there's still a place to get your kayak through with no problem. But anyway, I'll fish this along this wooded bank here all the way, and there's just so many places to cast and work your lures in through the bank. Now, when you come up this way, you'll get to this spot right here, and this is a deep pool area. It's like 12 to 15 foot deep, and depending on uh, weather, temperature, and different things like that, it's an okay spot to fish. You don't get many bank fishermen here along this river because uh, it's posted no bank fishing, but I still see people bank fish from time to time. But I would not recommend it because you will get game wardens and stuff out there. And I'm telling you, if you're fishing in a bank fishing area that says no bank fishing, they see you, they're going to give you a ticket. So, all right, this pool here, you can work this pool here, and then you come up and there's more fallen timber here, and then right here, this is another inlet from when they're releasing water from Eagle Mountain Lake, and this one is not as bad, or not as, I don't mean bad. It doesn't have as much flow as the one down by the bridge. The one down the bridge is your primary one. That's where it gets the most flow. You'll get a little bit of excess overflow from this one. You can see where this is the main branch coming from Eagle Mountain Lake. This is so all you're getting over here is just like a little overflow current. So when they're releasing, you'll get a little extra current in this area right here. And you can see there's a little like whitewater rapid here. You can't kayak past this point without portaging. So if you wanted to go past this little walkway bridge here, you would need a portage. And I have not been that way because I didn't feel like carrying the thing. But I do fish this area right here, and right in here. It's a really excellent area for bass, along with right on this backside here, because bass sit here in ambush waiting for prey. Now there's a big laydown right here, a lot of timber in this area, and it gets a little slim, and you have laydowns all through it. Now I have pedal kayaks, the Old Town PDLs, and I'll usually stop right here when I'm in my pedal kayak, just because of the amount of the timber and stuff, and I don't want to break a prop. When I'm in my regular kayak, or I don't have my pedal drive in, I will run right on up through this way, and it's easy access for a kayak. You have to go. There's so much timber and laydowns and structure along here, but there is ways you just get through. It's not bad. And you could take your pedal kayak up this way, but be prepared to hit some stuff. So, in this whole area, all the way north, heading up the West Fork Trinity here, this is all timber. This is a heavily timbered area right here. Depends on, sometimes you had storms move through, it may blow another tree or two down and make things hard to get through. But this is a lot of times this is about where people will stop. A few people will rough it on through and work right on up, and you're pretty much the same thing. Your timber all the way down, all the way down. Big giant lay down here where sometimes there's a blockage. But a lot of times this area, this northern area here that I'm pointing out, doesn't get a lot of traffic. A lot of times you really won't get people going past this area right here that I just showed you. And there may be a few people venture back this way, but a lot of times people won't go back. Now, if you want to push on when you're kayaking, feel free. I mean, it's prime territory back there, and there are alligators out here. Believe it or not, there are alligators out here. The biggest one they pulled out of here is 9 feet, and I think what they do is they pretty much leave them alone unless there's an issue, or if they get too big. I've heard that they will trap them and remove them, but I have not seen one. I've always looked for them. I'll probably see one on the one day when I'm not looking. But okay, and I can't tell you anything past this lay down here, but from looking on Google Earth, I mean, this is just prime area back here if you're the adventurous sort. So like I said, I'll usually come up and I'll hit this area right here. I'll work this deal, and then I'll work the opposite bank on the way back. And this is mostly grass along here. There's some timber. You'll see the timber laying down. And then as you get closer to the inlet, this shore right along here, this is a rocky, uh, not heavily rocky, but there's some rocks and stuff along here and some grass. So it's mostly rocks and grass, not much timber at all. And this is a lot of cattails and reeds right here. And this, like I say, this is my best place to fish. I love fishing right there. Well, anyway, so after I've come up and I've worked this, I'll usually just scoot on down past the launch, and I'll come down. This whole area right here is just a main channel. It's just pretty much a normal, like the river. Now you come to this first inlet right here. If the water's down a little bit, you won't get through here in your kayak. And this is like a little oxbow, is what I call it. I don't know if it's really an oxbow, but it's like a secondary channel from the water's deeper. There's another little. This one is real sketchy. The water has to be up to get across this one. This first one here is usually the most promising to get through, but when the lily pads are in full bloom in the middle of summer, it's really hard to get through there. And as a matter of fact, this whole back side of this area here will be filled with lily pads, and I'm talking solid. So you can get through in your kayak and fish and work a frog all through here, and I'll come down this channel right here if I can't get to the earlier point, and I'll come through and work around this way. And in the early spring, it's nice because you only have a few lily pads, a good pull. Now, early spring, when the bass are spawning, they will move up from Lake Worth, and they will come up in this area right here and bed. And you can find quite a few bass bedding right up in this area right here. You have a little underwater point here with a little bit of timber, and there's a little bit of timber here. This is kind of a shallow area right through here, maybe about 4 feet or so, and then it deepens up. Of course, you have the main river channel, and you have this bank, this little high point here, which bass will hang around this point right here. And there's timber and grass, not much, a whole lot of timber. Most of your timber is on this west bank here, but you will get a lot of grass and reeds along this side right here, and a few cattails. So along these 2 points and along this deal. Coming on down, I haven't gone back this way. I usually stay on the river channel, and I'll work this bank right here. And this whole bank here is reeds and grass and good place to work. And I like to work it all the way down. You'll come to the power lines right here. You'll see the power lines, big heavy duty power lines overlined. And that's telling you, you'll know when you see that you're getting close to Greer Island, and then the not far from Lake Worth, where the river turns into the lake. So anyway, this area right here, this is all grass and reeds, this entire island, and this whole back area back here. So this is a nice place to come around if you want to kayak around this area right here and work this grass. You can work with a spinner bait or a top water, and it's pretty good fishing spot right there. Bass like to hang there, and same with this island right here. Now we're running on down the river, and you're seeing it starting to widen a little bit because we're getting towards Lake Worth. All right. Now this is not Lake Worth. This is a bay right before we hit Greer Island. Matter of fact, there is Greer Island, and this is where most kayakers stop and then bounce back up. You can get your kayaks back here. This whole cove back here is just timber and grass. This thing's usually 4 to 7 feet, and I really haven't fished that much back here. I'm sure it's about the same as the rest of it, but I do like to work all this area right around here. And and of course, right here is the border for the nature center. It doesn't mean that you have to stop there. You can keep going because this right here is basically the start of Lake Worth, and you can see where you come around. Here's 199, and then Casino Beach right here, and then you're pretty much in the lake. So a lot of times I won't even come down. I'll just come down to about this point right here, and then bounce back up. And because I like to work both ends, I like to hit the that. My favorite spot is, especially when they're releasing water, is from the boat ramp. My kayak launch is run up and work this curry. I like to work this point right here. And like I say, I like to love to work this timber all the way up on this east side, all the way up till I hit this pool. And right past this pool, say there's that pocket with another little inlet, and that's a good place. And I'll work this area back here, and then I come back. And so what I do is I work one bank up and one bank down, and vice versa on the way back. And so it's about probably 5 or 6 miles total. It's not a super long trip, and it's something you can cover in a half a day. It depends on how far you go and uh, how long you want to be out there and how much water you want to cover, how long you want to throw at stuff. And you can, there are little areas by areas, especially like up north and down, that you can bounce around. When the lily pads aren't too thick, this whole area is fishing there. So there's a lot of places to cover. So, all right, well, this is Stretch Line Bait and Tackle. I just want to give you a little brief overview of the West Fork Trinity between Eagle Mountain Lake up here and Lake Worth down here. And this is in Fort Worth. This would be downtown right here. This is the downtown area. And anyway, it's a nice place to go. It's I haven't caught giants. I've caught some 2 and 3 pounders out there, but it's a fun place. And the scenery and the solitude and the quietness is definitely worth it. It's a nice little place to go, and I like to go here sometimes just to fish, just when I'm not trying to compete or anything. Just want to have a nice enjoyable day and come back out, look at the buffalo, see some deer, things like that. So okay, hey, well, Stretch Line Bait and Tackle. This is this series here of my kayak series that I'm doing on the waters in the North Texas. I will be bringing you many more. I have a trip this Thursday in 2 days to head to Squaw Creek and do another section of that lake. So that'd be the third section I'm doing out there for y'all. And I'm doing little kayak trips. And I'm basically covering areas that a kayak would cover in a day. So, okay, well, going to sign off. Going to remind you to always wear your PFD, stay safe on the water, pick up your trash, pick up other people's trash, and yak it out.